morning or good evening, everyone. Welcome at today's webinar of VizAcademy. Nice to have you there. Let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me. Just let me know in the comment section. And today's we are going to the topic of architectural videos made in 3ds Max as well as in VizMaker. So, my name's Mikołaj Cierlak and today, cześć, hello. Today's we'll talk about the architectural visualization and architectural animation, and during this webinar you'll see our studio workflow of how we do such animation that you could see in the video before the webinar. But I will also play this video soon, so CD buzz, and we'll wait for people for a while, and that's all. Let me know where are you from, and meanwhile while we are waiting, I encourage you to check VizMaker as well as VizAcademy. As I said, I'm Mikołaj Cierlak, I'm founder of Pixelcraft. I do a lot of stuff during the last 10 years. I do also the podcast, but it's in Polish, so it can be harsh for your ears because of all if you're not from Poland, but you can check a lot of our project and my project on Behance, on Mikołaj Cierlak, and Ora Vita saying Tanzania. Welcome from Poland, welcome Tanzania, great to have you there. I'm pretty happy that there's a lot of people today. That's great. So Turkey, great. Poland Reaper, hi. So today we'll talk about the, as I said, architectural animation. So we'll go from the 3D model, and I will do the case study of how we prepared some visualization. Because you couldn't know, but we prepare a project in the town of the Chicago, near the Chicago Tower, near the Trump Tower and other well-known building. And based on that, I will show you how to go from the first steps up to the animation. So I still see that there's more and more people in the chat, so we'll wait let's say 2 or 3 minutes and go. So in long story short, basically we go through, let's say, this kind of area and decided to create our own architecture and own project based on our concept in heads. So we go from the Google Maps up to CAD Mapper, get up around 1 square kilometer area, and based on that we create a whole model that we then prepared into the visualization. It was, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago. So based on that we prepare visualization. Later we prepared the same visualization but with AI, and now we are going to show, let's say, make some small premiere of the video that I will show you of what we do based on visualization and what we do based on visualization prepared in VizMaker. So give me 1 second, I will switch the screen because I want to show you a whole screen and have nice view. So yes, it was rendered in Chaos Corona. And right now I'm going to show you the whole video, because we create based on these renders and based on this scene prepared in 3ds Max we prepared an animation with whole storyline, and I hope that it will help you to understand what the case of this today's webinar is. So let's go into this, CD your base, and let's go. So guys, what do you think about this? Because in my case, I like this a lot because, of course, I create this, so you know, I'm pretty proud. But I like VizMaker because it enables my creativity, to my personal skills and creativity to make such thing like this. So I'm able to use 3ds Max, Chaos, Corona, and then go into the VizMaker to prepare such animation like this. So with emotion, with storyline, and kind of different vibe that usual films that we can see in the internet, that, you know, there's this classical music with architectural details, and that's all. So I will tell you how to prepare such visualization during this webinar and how we started to create them. Okay, so firstly we need to go into the 3ds Max, because anything that we need to do, we need to prepare in 3ds Max. So basically all those things are created, as I said, in 3ds Max and Chaos Corona, and about all that thing we teach in VizAcademy. So as you did know, maybe you don't know, as I said, I'm Mikołaj and I'm teaching in VizAcademy Poland. In VizAcademy UK there's Mike that teach such thing, and as well as in VizAcademy UK on Instagram and VizMaker AI, you can find some additional content that you can check for additional knowledge. But right now we are going into the 3ds Max, and as I said, we choose the terrain and area and localization, and this is this part of this terrain. We think that, okay, there is a hole, so put the tower put the tower here, and for creating the terrain we start with CAD mapper. So you can log in here and take up to 1 square kilometer. Welcome from Panama City, welcome from Poland, and I use the CAD mapper. So basically CAD mapper, you can download the CAD mapper DWX file, and DXF format, and import it into the 3ds Max. So basically it gave us the proportion and the scale of the object, because right here I see that we have the tram tower, other building around, and there is our terrain of the building. So at the beginning I try to prepare the whole river, whole elements, and basically as you can see here on the visualization, that's crazy, but it is as it is. Well, sorry. A lot of files for today's webinar, but all these things are in this case rendered. So basically in this case, as you can see, this is our design. So it is created by ourselves in 3ds Max. This is the 3D model, 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 and those buildings in the background are also 3D models, but with textures. Those models at the foreground are prepared model in the 3ds Max. So when I get the CAD mapper file, let's get this building. So basically, I can tell you that this building is basically this building. So most of them, I try to calculate how many floors they have. And then, in this case, I try to detach my building from the whole object, convert to edit poly, and then give it a lot of, connections to get specific numbers of floor. After that, I create a detach as clone model, and based on that, I try to divide my planes to create such element as we can see here. So all this element was created. I tried to use the street walk to see how many objects are there. It was crazy. In this time, it was necessary to get such details. Right now, I will show you how we can use VizMaker for better usage and better usage of time, especially. But in this case, I use this kind of object to prepare details one floor and let's say second floor. And then after after I prepared, oh God, sorry for some lags in 3ds Max, but this file is optimized, but still very heavy. And then after preparing the first floor, I try to use array modifier, and based on that, I create most of the building around. Also, when you go into the visualization, let's say go into this one, you can see a lot of mesh, concretes, metal elements, and in this case we also prepare let's go into this file. We also prepared all elements on the foreground. So in this case we try to prepare all specific elements and environment that was necessary to show the foreground in very detailed manner. And right now it changed a lot. Sorry for that. It changed a lot because of VizMaker, because as I can tell you that these renders was prepared with model. We prepared the model, we made some shades, we made some details, etc. Everything that we need to prepare a model. I can tell you again, it's my fourth webinar in UK, and again I'm going to tell you that those 6 things are pretty important. So based on that, we create this render. And it took about 3 or even 4 months to prepare such visualization. But it was additional case study. It was created by me and my coworker Jarek. And in this case, we try to find new technologies, new workflow, try AI, because the second version have AI modification to get better results. And we try to use a lot of new techniques to know what I can learn you in VizAcademy during the webinar, let's say. And right now, let's say simple building like this took about 1 or 2 days. So in this case, in this area, I know that this file is optimized, so you don't see every model in this area, but it was about 27 models that was prepared to be most detailed. Part of them was created like this, so we use, let's say, a shape of building with some extrude polygons into the building, but only this, and we put the texture, because I didn't tell you, but at the beginning of our project we do a lot of research, and during the project we do the development, but we even hire a photograph from the Chicago. She tried to check all the places that we describe that we want to see, and do a photography of buildings, so we could do textures nowadays. Arefin, do you prefer a 4K monitor for renders work, or lower monitor? What is your main monitor screen size? Oh my god, let me check it. But I use right now I use ISO. Hi guys, I use FlexScan ISO. This, not this one. It's some old model of this, and it's pretty good for my work. I have a small room, so I don't like, big screens behind me, because it's not good for my eyes. And still, as I'm sitting behind the screen for 8 to 12 hours, But in this case, we use textures from the photography to prepare some specific buildings, especially in more when we have more distance between the camera. So this old building at the foreground was modeled. This building was mostly, if they was visible, we tried to make from textures. So, but right now, during the era of AI, we can check it. Sorry, not check it, but change it. And what I mean, this building on the corner, this one. Thanks. Oh, this one. It's probably Sheraton Hotel. Sheraton Grand Hotel. Took about 3 or 4 days of modeling. So, 3-4 days took only the modeling, not working with the concept. So right now, I am able, let's say, to take a screenshot from the Google Maps or Google Earth of any building that I need. Let's go into the Sheraton. See that, okay. I can take the screenshot at the very beginning, and I did it because my stream, I do something earlier. It is recorded basically, so it will be available for the next hours. But I don't know if it will be available for let's say to the eternity. And in this case, let's say I have this kind of screenshot for Google Maps. In this case, I used to create a screenshot without any marks, so I use this one. In VizMaker, I can use the Nano Banana to delete this, or just to use Photoshop and delete these marks. But what I can do, I can use Nano Banana in this case and use, let's say, based on this render, I can prepare a more interesting model, as I can use image upscaler. So I will use image upscaler up to 2K. Then from the upscaler, I can use VizMaker for preparing more detailed render, because right now based on Google Maps, we know that it's not have so great shadings, etc. Right now, I can use this image into Nano Banana and let's say add realism or make view to render, create photorealistic image, prepare, use an ambient light, make it very detailed. It's Sheraton Grand in Chicago. Sometimes I like to use, I know that I can turn off tags, but I forgot about it. And in this case, I try to, as you can see, prepare a much more detailed object of Sheraton Grand, and based on that, right now I'm going to create a pack shot. I don't know if you know what the pack shot is, what that's mean, but pack shot is the let's say a render of or image of object on a white environment, like a product shot. So make a pack shot of this building on white environment. I make a pack shot of building from red region area on white environment studio. Do not leave a red line in final image. I like to say that we need to know about the positive and negative prompting. In this case, I try to tell what to do. So it's positive, make a pack shot, and negative, do not leave the red line in final image. And sometimes I need to do it a few times. Maybe we need to switch into the Nano Banana Pro and go into enlarge mode, do the same, and use the same prompt. I will do it a few times to have what I need. And based on that, I can create such a model as it is. And based on that, I can use VizMaker and Mesh AI to create the model. So in this case, as you can see, during this webinar, I'm going from the Google Maps into the upscaler, into the Nano Banana, and creating some pack shot of this building, and create, based on this image from the screenshot, I'm able to prepare, as you can see, a building like this. So I can use this building basically in 3ds Max, and I do not need to model it in any basically in software. So as you can see, I can take an advantage of using AI because it speeds up the process of modeling, and during the whole process of the creating visualization, if I can create any model in few minutes and took more time into the concept, it's much better for me as a creator to make more interesting image or make more content at the end. So in this case, I'm going put this building just to show you. I'm going into my scene, into my folder, sorry, and going to find the saved model, because in this case I just save it as the OBJ and textures. It has in this case 2K resolution texture, but we can also use, my gosh, sorry, where I have it. So I'm going to the model, and soon I'm going to turn off one of the 3ds Max, and as you can see, right now I'm using my workstation that I use for streaming, so it's a bit less stronger than the main workstation. But I can use this obeyed model. As you can see, I importing this into my files, and I'm getting at the end whole model without physical modeling. I mean, without me, sticking to the computer for a few days. So in this case, we are going to import this file. And very soon we are going into the VizMaker to show you how I create the storyline and how I work with the video to create some such content at the end. So let me show you the last thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to this Max need to be during the webinar. Sorry for that. I hope that you still can hear me and see as well. It's not so laggy. Oh, maybe let me know in comment if you can still hear me very well and if there is everything good, okay? Because I want to give you a lot of information, as I like talk a lot, and it would be sad if there's some lags. You should be able to access during the next hours, definitely. But our team will decide if it will be during the next days. Will be to okay. Arefin, I will answer for the question, but let me show the building. No bad. Sorry for that. During my last webinar, I hadn't such problem like here. with speed of my computer, but as you can see, I just put this building into the model, and right now with the textures and anything that I need, the connection is good. Okay, great. So I can use this building to render anything that I need, and during the next steps I'm able to create a render, and even with some lower resolution of, let's say, this texture, I'm still able to prepare more interesting render at the end of the process in post-production by using VizMaker, post-production, and additional AI tools to make it better. So as you can see, I will just turn off this 3ds Max, but I use it, and I prepared this model during the workshop. So but in this time when we prepared this model from the scratch, it took about 3 or 4 days to prepare without the texture. So you can believe that it was a tough task to create. So yeah, in this case, we'll go into the 3ds Max and VizMaker, and Arefin, how can I quickly create a wide horizontal city view render with background buildings, city life, and activities? So I use AI already made 3D city assets. It depends what we need, because in this case, I would use the background made in AI. So basically, I can go to the, in this case, right now, during working with my clients in a commercial project, I try to use Google Maps or the photography made by my client, let's say by photographer or by drone operators. And yes, basically Meta, you're right. After this model, I could make more optimized in VizMaker. I didn't think about that. But what I do also about the models from the VizMaker, I show it during the last webinar that I try to use retopology or any additional stuff in the 3ds Max to make them lighter. So right now, I will go into the, let's say, into the Google Maps. Let's go into the Chicago again, and let's say create, let's say, a screenshot of let's say skyline of the city, and by change this screenshot into the environment for my 3D model, because right now I try to make more detailed model of the most of the object that are most interesting for my clients. So it's about all their building, but the environment, to if you want to make more photorealistic environment, I try to use photography. So based, let's say, on this kind of skyline and landscape from the Google Maps, you're able to turn off the tags and then use it as the background in 3ds Max. I will try find some visualization. Let's give me a second, okay? Because it will be it will take a few additional seconds, because I need to go to the Figma, my old Figma, and go into the Boston. Oh, yes, I have it. And wait. Because I want to show you how I create some visualization of exterior image, also based on VizMaker, as well as on based on Google Maps, but I need to go into my additional hard drive, and if I find it, it will help you to understand how you can use such screenshot. And it was a project for one of company from the US. My gosh. And we prepared some visualization based on screenshots, because this area was under restriction of local airport. So I tried to co-work with some additional drone operators, but there was too late, because airport gave the additional license for the fly, but it took about 4 weeks, and we haven't 4 weeks. We have 2 weeks to create such renders. So okay. Okay. Yeah, got it. I need to download them. But I have it. Okay. So. Thank for your patience. And yeah, we create such a visualization like here. And this was visualization made for one of architectural bureau in Boston, and not from Boston, but from US definitely. And this environment, as you can see, there is a lot of post-production, but this environment was prepared basically from Google Maps, based on upscaler and based on VizMaker. So I use screenshots to prepare such panorama. This foreground basically is a simple model and textures made in VizMaker. So I show you how to create this. Basically, in VizMaker, you're able to prepare, let's say, again, from the screen, you can prepare upscale and some better looking image like here. And based on that, you're able to prepare a texture of facade for 3ds Max as albedo texture. And based on that, I am able to prepare a texture that I will use as a map during the UV map process, during the UVW mapping process, and use this map on my building, like here, to prepare more interesting environment. If this is a custom work, let's say like here, and basically I can tell you that most of my work was custom. I mean, most of client want custom building, and I mean the building from the area where they have the project. So we use simple physical modeling and this kind of modeling with textures and photography to prepare some environment to have such renders. And based on that, right now, let's go into this example, because in this case, we prepared 3 different renders, as you can see, based on one frame. But in this time, we prepared them in 3ds Max and Corona. And right now, I thought about to make some additional frames from this frame, from this angle. Let's say to have, let's say, winter, golden hour, anything. But it takes too much time. So right now, I am able to right now I'm able to choose any old render like I showed you. Okay, let's skip into this one, stick into this one, and based on that render, I am able to prepare autumn, let's say add winter, make golden hour, basically in few clicks. So you can tell that, okay, Mikołaj, you showing us just few clicks, and we know that we can do few clicks and create some renders, but take advantage of this during the commercial work. I mean, I use this opportunity of creating such, you know, very fast and beautiful renders to talk with my client to check if they like the mood. Because, okay, we have such, let's say, some additional errors like here, because there's no stairs. Oh, there are. Okay, so there are simple stairs. But I can ask my client I can ask my client if, okay, you wanted autumn but with overcast, or you want the autumn with golden hour. You want the winter during the blue hour, or you want the winter during the daylight? You want the golden hour but from the sunset, or from the different direction, you know? So you can use VizMaker in many ways, especially for commercial work, not for, let's say, also for the final resolution and for final results, but as well as for talking with clients to make some draft easier to accept. So in this case, you know that we are able of creating models, textures, and in time ago it took a lot of time, and right now we are able to produce a lot faster, more complicated object. But let's go back into the movie, the animation that we prepared, and I will put it on the screen, but right now I'm going to make the music not so loud, and you'll see some specific idea that I'm going in general for all general view up to details, and from details to general view, and so on. Basically, this video is about stepping from the general view to the details and back again. So basically, you can see a lot of interesting stuff, but there is a, let's say, consistency in this video that help us to be able to focus on the story and on the building, not on the, let's say, the quality. And in this case, I think it's the kind of good video that help us or let us focus on the story, not for the details of, let's say, okay, this road, let's say, okay, I see that waters look bad. It's not about this, it's about the building. So in this case, as you can see, I start from the general view, and this general view I created basically again based on I create this this image based on Google Maps and based on my renders. So I create, let's say, this kind of video, this kind of image, and check, and then go into the link and prepare. This my first frame basically, and it's look like this. I will show you. Where is it? It's basically only this kind of camera movement. As you can see, in this case, the original video is going with zoom out from the building, but for my video, I try to use zoom in, because as we go into the story, we try to focus on the object. So in the main story, I change it, and I showed in this video that we are going straight into direction of this building, and then we are going from the view of the behind the back of this person. And at the beginning, I try to show try to show this building, this person as. And in this case, you can see that at the beginning we have the focus on the building, and the last frames the focus change. I also prompt it in VizMaker. So basically this is made from the first and the last frame, and it was the first frame that I created, and based on that frame I create my end frame, because based on that I'm able to create the first and last frame video. So the AI VizMaker know that it should go from this into this, and at the end you can see that the focus change on the head, but we have very fast transition on her face and go into the eyes. So in the eyes we can see the building. So in this case I try to show that we have the emotion of admiring the object, and then from the story of this girl, maybe she's new in the city, maybe she just go for the walk and see this thing first time. And then we go again into the story of the architecture. So as you can see, I try to use time-lapse in here just to make it some dynamic, because the music is dynamic. And what is important that I didn't tell you, the first thing that I try to imagine when I work with any storyline is, of course, the frames and angles, but what is very important is music, because music gave you the dynamic, the rhythm, anything that we need to prepare the major the rookie mistake is to work with the video and put the music later on. So it's not so like it's not so so dynamic and so pretty as, let's say, this video, because I know it is, because of the nice creative preparation of the at the beginning, the post process and connection with the music. But what is really important, I try to make transition up to the beat. So if I don't have the music, if I don't have the music, I don't know how to. I'm Goldman. And then I will answer the question after I will, tell the short story about this. And I try to find the music that will be coherent with my story. And based on that, I go from the where is it? From the story about the person into the building, because from the eyes up to the detail. So we have the building, hero shots. Basically, this is the hero shot that I transform. Basically, I'm JPI cube. I'm basically doing this. What I mean, based on my main renders, I create, let's say, based on my main render, I create Nanobana, this kind of render, and this render it was used for the time-lapse purposes. So basically all this time lapses here, and this video from an aerial was made based on renders. So basically, in this case, I use my rendered images in 3ds Max and Corona as the base for the animation. So basically, I use this one to create this one, and from this one I went into the this thing. And in this case, I try to use a simple prompt. I mean, with simple sentence. Ultra realistic cinematic architectural shot of modern skyscraper at the main hero subject. And I'm pretty know that you could see this pack of prompt on the VizMaker on Instagram. So if you go to the VizMaker Instagram and social media, you're able to comment the post with, let's say, it was like webinar, and in DEM you will get the package of prompts in this case. So I use the same prompts to create some kind of these images. And in this video, the storyline go from the, from this girl to the architecture, and again we are going to the humans. And we have some angles from the tags cap. We can see here, let's say, her face again, but in the reflection of the glass car glass, we can see our building. And again, we go into the interior, and I like this. It's short sentence part, but you can see that in this case, it has about the half second. We are going into the building. When we are inside the building, we get step back with camera, and then go into the, let's say, GoPro with man who pick up the champagne, and then go up to the upper floor of the building. Show the general view, and in this case we have some longer part to make, let's say, show the context of the building, because in creating architectural animation we need to know and we need to show the context, because it's about the people, about the emotion, but also about the context. And in this case, there is a Chicago River, and Chicago River is pretty important part of this city, as well as we can see that we make some weird visualization back then with some, let's say, this kind of green dyed river. But basically, during the St. Patrick days in Chicago, the local tradition says that they dyed the river into the green color, and just partying with the St. Patrick. But we tried also to show this in visualization. We don't use this visualization for animation because it wasn't in, let's say, in my key of color grading, etc. So in this case, in video, we try to show context, and let's check it again. You can see that in this river there is a boat. Okay, so this is boat, and then we go into the boat, because as it's very important concept and context of this word. And this is also Max and VizMaker, and it's very simple prompt. I spent a lot of time, to be honest, to make some effect, but finally it worked on the most of my cases. And it's like tiny planet projection of modern skyscraper scene located at, you can see, I tried to describe the environment very specific. So I'm here, I put the specific address of this project, but I'm not trying to describe the building, because it's sometimes it changes it too much. And in this case, we need to in this case, we also it can be like professional architects, because I studied on the university with the profile of architects, but at the end I decided to be a 3D artist. So sorry about that. Maybe our industry of architecture lost some, talent. But definitely it's better to be here than in the 3D industry. And in this case, I get this blue hour atmosphere, because in this case I have dramatic blue hour atmosphere with heavy layer clouds. So to get this nice clouds, I'm also prompted this into this text. So based on that, I create only one, as you can see, I create only one kind of this shot, and then change it into the blue hour with clouds, move to the golden hour, and night to day. And based on that, I speed up this video at my at the end in the After Effects, because I use Adobe After Effects. And from this, you can see that this image go from the blue hour night, let's say, to the sunset. And in this case, I prepared the last frame that's from sunset again to the blue hour. And I try to make, let's say, this kind of mixed frames, because I wanted to show that, okay, we go from the night up to the day, but the last frame basically looks like this. It was this frame. But what I did, I just reverse it, and played from the end up to the first. So this was like here, but in the Adobe, because I use Adobe, I like to tell that I'm old-fashioned man, but I'm not so, old. But I learned years ago After Effects, and everything that I do is in After Effects. And in After Effects, I just use I will show the whole line, but in After Effects, the last frame is just the time stretch and reversed to go from the, from the light part of day to the night, and then go to the fade black. And this is whole my timeline in After Effects. At the end, I try also during the process of VizMaker create visualization, and I'm trying to think about the colors about the palette, because if I, let's say, go into the frames, but let's say this frame was like, let's say, very orange and reddish colors of these interiors, and next interiors and renders would be, let's say, more yellow, and others have other colors. It would be not so easy to make it so consistent, but I try to at the beginning of my work, I try to, let's say, I'm going to do it fast because I not have so much time, but I'm going very often to the cloud or the ChatGPT and make an analysis of this photography based on 6 parameters. And what I use here, from the last webinar, you could see that I'm trying to analyze my renders based on this parameters. So about the 3D model, lighting, material, style, atmosphere, storyline, and mood. And then I'm go to the cloud, and I try to make analysis of photography based on these 6 parameters. So I will make a screenshot to make it a bit faster. My gosh. And by creating, let's say, kind of additional data and information about this shot, I'm able to use this information in next prompt to make it more similar to each other. And based on that, I'm able to I don't okay, I weren't prepared for that. But still have 8 up to 10, so it's still good. But I use this kind of, let's say, data in the next prompt to prepare additional prompt, and at the end in the Adobe After Effects you can use during the VizAcademy course we try to show the CapCut. Our students use the DaVinci Resolve because free version is very good, have a lot of additional asset of VFX, transition, etc. So we try to show a lot, especially with CapCut. I try to use the After Effects and the Premiere, but at the end it's all about the feeling, and seriously it's all. In Adobe I try to use LUTs and additional stuff like additional effects for some layers, because in this case as you can see, let's say basic render was a bit flat in this case. In the case, I like it, but in case of the older frame, it was so flat. So I use additional saturation. We have here. We have contrast saturation. I think that I use contrast saturation as this layer and put about the 50% of second layer opacity to make such, you know, different and more contrast object. So for some frames and angles, I try to use some additional contrast, but I try to, let's say, do a lot of color grading in VizMaker by analyzing such as you can see, analyzing such information from other image. So based on that, I create step-by-step other image, and at the end, I try to match them with the music. So at the end, I will go into our video again. Okay, I will put it on screen again. And if you have any question, just put them in the comment, and we are going to the end. So let's go into the story again. I stopped talking for a while, and my dogs think that I finished the webinar. And yeah, dobra robota, dziękuję za good work, thanks for sharing, Ivanka wrote. Great. And I hope that you like it, and that was good webinar with a lot of information. So basically, all the stuff we try to learn, we try to teach during the VizAcademy course in VizAcademy UK. You can find here a lot of information as well on VizMaker. So I encourage you to visit our social media and, you know, show, sorry, not so, a bit, yeah, pretty cool. Greenton says, yeah, we try to learn about such thing during the VizAcademy course. So, so yeah, that's all. Thank you for this webinar. And yeah, if you have any question, I think you can you can go into the social media and write some DMs, and I'm sure that we'll able to tell you more. Green got one out to Mike, yeah. Thank Mike that you are also here, and thank you all for this webinar. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see each other soon, so have a nice week, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Bye. this kind of, so by screen